back to Unmasked, the podcast that uncovers the thoughts, feelings, and voices of the BU community. I'm Adam Lazowski.
And I'm Veronica Thompson. Every week, we go out and ask our peers a random, intriguing question and allow them to share their thoughts anonymously.
Our goal is to illuminate the wide variety of personalities and experiences within the student body. Thank you for joining us today.
Now let's turn it over to our field reporting segment and see what people had to say for this week's question. Hi, I'm Veronica Thompson.
And I'm Adam Lazowski.
Today we're at GSU and we're asking a question. What's our question, Adam?
We're asking students if they could talk to animals.
Or plants.
What would be the first thing they would say?
I would tell my dogs that they're good dogs and ask them if they can understand me.
I would say, how's it like being an animal? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I would say, how you doing?
I would talk to a tree and be like, how old are you?
Do you think the tree would know?
I mean, probably. They've just been chilling there, so probably.
I would talk to my dog and ask him who is his master. Is my mom or my dad or me?
Do you think that your dog, follows one person more than the others?
I think so. I think he treats different between me and my dad. And me, I think he treats me as his friend. I think he thinks I'm another dog, and my dad is clearly his master. Yeah.
Okay, so if I could talk to trees are really old. So I feel like I would ask them some kind of historical question. If I'm working on a historical project, I can't find primary sources. You just go up to trees and be like, what did John Adams say then or something? Because it was probably still there.
Research.
More specifics about the history that you would want to know. What specifically would you ask?
Well, sometimes there's times when records aren't well kept, or you get to a period of history, if you're doing the Founding Fathers or something, very specific people were keeping the records. So not everyone's story was getting told. Not everybody had records kept of them. People who were walking around, there just weren't records being kept of certain groups of people. Certain people couldn't have access to writing supplies or education that would allow them to write, but the trees were there and they saw everything that happened. You could ask the trees and they would be able to tell you what happened here, what happened there.
So let's say there's a single tree where an event happened, right?
Right.
That tree would remember exactly what happened in that event, right?
Yeah.
But what if we're talking about an event that happened over a wide span of an area, right? How would it be possible to ask all of those trees? Would you have to go to them individually?
That's a good point. So
Ask
the
the
way
forest?
I'm sort of conceptualizing it is that the tree can see out of the twigs. So I'm saying that if you get a wide enough span of trees, alternatively you could just take a survey of the local grass. But I feel like there's a telephone issue there where everyone will have heard something different, like a Rashomon thing with the grass. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta survey the trees. You gotta take a couple of... Maybe the trees have opinions too. You don't know.
Biases.
I've never talked to a tree. So there's a chance... it looks cool in Lord of the Rings. So that tree seems to have it going on.
So I have one cat, but I used to have two. The second one passed away. And so I want to know if my cat remembers my other cat.
What do you believe currently, since you can't talk to your cat? Do you think they remember or not?
I don't know, because, he didn't really like him that much anyway. So I'm kind of I don't know if you'd remember him. I don't know if you'd care to remember him. I don't know. Maybe he smells him around our house. I don't know. I'd like to know.
What would you say if you could speak to a plant or an animal?
I would not want to talk to a plant or animal because they probably have sad, boring lives, and they're contemplating individuality or whatever, and that would be the most boring, terrible experience of my entire life. It would make me sad, and I wouldn't want to talk to them. I always think that indoor cats are probably the saddest of us all. I really wish I would speak to an indoor and outdoor cat, the one that goes in and out, and I would go, "What's your favorite place to visit in the town?"
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
I would say if you could be any other plant or animal, what would you be and why? And then as a follow-up, I would ask them, what is your spirit human? Because we ask everyone, what is your spirit animal? So I would ask them, what is your spirit human?
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
Have you ever been featured on Animal Planet?
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
I would ask them what their favorite season is.
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
I would ask indoor plants and animals if they're jealous of outdoor plants and animals, and outdoor ones if they're jealous of indoor ones.
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
Would you rather be a pet or living in the real world?
My first question would be, what's your attitude towards human beings?
I think I would ask them if they hate the human race for fucking everything up.
What is the thing that humans are doing that you hate the most?
How do you feel about us humans being all up in your space?
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say? What would you ask?
I'd ask them what their perception of humans are.
We've been getting that one a lot, but just
What? That's not an original one?
it's not really.
Wait, okay,
We've
I
gotten
gotta-
people asking, what does the human race do that you hate the most? Or like, do you want to be pets or do you want to just be in the wild?
That's deep. I'd probably just talk to my dog and be like, what the hell is going through your mind? Because he's a little stupid.
Yo, my dog is too.
Yeah.
I would probably ask them if they're happy. Yeah.
I would ask them what season of the year is your favorite.
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say to them or ask them?
How do you think? Like, do you think in a language? What's up with that? I mean, I even just think that's interesting with people who are bilingual and stuff. Like, what language do you think in? So, thinking of that with a plant, like bunny, do you think in or a cow, do you think in moo?
I would ask dogs if their feelings get hurt if you get mad at them or if you leave them.
I would ask grass if it hurts when people step on it.
I would ask them if they can feel pain, and now I feel really bad because now I'm I want to know if when you pluck a flower, that probably hurts a lot, and if you put them in a vase of water, does that actually do anything? I feel that's maybe just to make us feel better about it, but I don't know if that actually does anything. I feel they're already dead.
Do you water your plants or no?
I do, yes I do. I'll do flowers every couple of weeks, and I generally put them in water, and I get those little packets of plant food, but I don't feel it makes them last any longer, and I feel it's just to make me feel better.
Anybody else?
I would ask them if they can communicate within each other. I know animals really can, but can plants?
I think I would just want to know what their philosophy is on life after death. I do.
I would want to know if they do drugs like shrooms, and do they do that type of stuff, and do they enjoy it?
I've seen those sometimes animals will have you ever seen the honey badger ate a mushroom and now it's tripping? Do they do that on purpose? Do they know? Do they know what they're doing? That's what I wanted to ask.
So recently, I'm not sure what it is, but there's been a lot of geese, at least at Fenway, on Fenway campus. This pair of geese, they come from the Muddy River across the road, on the sidewalk, and then up through the alley, all on foot. And I would ask them, why don't they just fly in? Because they fly out, but they just walk in. So I think they actually enjoy the walk. I think they kind of like being in the road. They kind of like walking through and having the cars slow down and stop for them. I think there's something there. No, and they'll look at you funny. If you get in their way, they'll crane their neck at you. They'll get in your face. They'll honk. If you're sitting in their space, they'll come up to you and they'll be a little bit of an asshole. So it's kind of funny. But if I were to ask my chickens anything, it would probably be, do you like when you get picked up? I would totally ask them, because I feel sometimes they're so chill with it. Sometimes they'll just squat down. They won't do anything. You'll pick them up and it's fine. But then sometimes they'll run away. But it's a complete toss up, depending on which chicken or depending on how you encounter them. So it's I'm sure there is something to it where it's depending on how you approach them, they get scared. And it's like, you gotta figure out the best way to like approach a chicken, which I haven't really figured out yet, you know?
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say to them or ask?
I'd be so overcome with guilt that I wouldn't be able to say anything really, especially plants, because I feel like plants we have no mercy for in terms of like eating and consuming and farming. You know, at least with animals, I feel a little guilty when I eat an animal. But a plant is like, you know, if anything, it's you should be proud, you know, to eat a plant in our culture. But if they could talk and it's like, oh my God, you're sentient, and now suddenly, so I'd say I'm sorry, I guess.
Thank you. How about you?
I think if I could talk to a plant or an animal, I would just be like, oh my God. What? What colors do you see?
True.
What sounds do you hear? Do you have feelings and thoughts? And do you remember your children? Do you remember your parents?
Do you know the shrimp that can see like 30 colors? You know about that?
What?
I think it's a shrimp. It's some kind of like creepy crawly insect in the ocean that has like 1 million color cones.
Yeah.
Like how we have like 3 color cones, they have like 30 or something. So they see crazy things, I think. I don't know.
If I could talk to plants, I would want to ask them what they associate themselves with, what emotion, because I feel like we associate plants and like different colored plants with different emotions. So like red roses for like Valentine's Day, like I'd want to ask and see how they feel about that, because maybe like red roses are actually like really depressed and you don't know that. And then I would say for animals, I mean, I just want to talk to my dogs. I want to see how they're feeling, what's going on up there, because sometimes I don't think it's much, so I want to know what they're genuinely thinking.
Anybody else have something? You got something?
I would want to talk to my dogs and ask them if they actually like being called the name that like we named them, because like, you know, we might be calling them something, they're like, I actually hate this, but you know, they don't know how else to respond. So I have a black lab named Jock, and then I have a golden retriever named Ginger, but she's golden and I named her Ginger, so I wonder how she feels about that.
Anybody else have something? If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
I feel like I would want to know what like their opinions are on other people, because I feel like my dog definitely has some like beef with some dogs for a reason though. Like I want to know why he has those beefs. And plants, like they have to know, they gotta know everything. Like they know all the secrets. So I feel like I need to like sit down and discuss like the world.
I guess I'll go.
No pressure if you want to.
I'd want to talk to animals and just kind of know what it's like being an animal, and especially at least for my dog, just see like, I think it'd be cool to communicate with him and be able to like have a mutual understanding where you just be like, oh, if you want to go outside use the bathroom, you can, or just like ask him like how life is, because he is kind of part of my family at this point, and like I do love him, so just want to catch up with him sometimes.
If you could talk to plants or animals, what would you say?
I would ask my dog why he likes to hump my pillow so much.
Is it what pillow? Like you're on your bed?
Yeah, just my pillow.
My pillow.
I would talk to plants. I would ask them, how do you do it? That is it.
We are debriefing, and we just wanted to answer the question for ourselves. So Adam, if you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say?
So firstly, if I were to talk to a plant, I would ask, what is your favorite kind of food? Because plants, they receive different kinds of food. You could consider water food. You could consider soil a type of food. You could consider, maybe some chemicals could be considered food for certain plants. You never know. That would be the thing I would ask for plants. And then for animals, I've always loved them ever since I was a young boy, and I still do now. The thing I would ask them is, or I would tell them is, I personally mean no harm to you. While it is true that others may, in that context or in that situation where I'd be talking to that animal, I would be like, hey, I'm here for you. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Let's chill. What do you think, Ronnie?
Honestly, for both plants and animals, I would just talk to them and ask them what they know that we don't know. In terms of how the earth works and things that they can perceive that we definitely can't, like frequencies of sound or certain sensations when it comes to the natural world. I would just want to know about that. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Unmasked, presented by Boston University's independent student newspaper, The Daily Free Press. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. To hear previous episodes of Unmasked, visit dfpress.co/listen for our podcast archive.
Until we meet again,
goodbye.
If you could talk to animals or plants, what would you say? What would you ask?
Oh, shit. That's, oh, am I?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Wait. Come back to me, and I'll give you a clever answer in a second.
We'll circle back. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you say if you could speak to a plant or an animal?
I would ask it. Come back to me. Okay, I got it. I would ask a plant, I would ask it if it would rather never slay again or slay so hard that slay loses all its meaning.
That's a good point, because trees might not have the same concept of time that we do.
Maybe.
Years? That's just something we made up to box time into.
Tree years.
But what is tree years, right?
Treers.
Trees. Okay.
Okay, the question is, if you could talk to plants or animals, what would you say? Animals. No. What would you say to them?